Part 47. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 479. The metal figure stood up and left the metal platform on which he was lying. His eyes swept across the room with only sparse reaction lights on. His consciousness quickly spread from his own area to the surroundings, and he began to inspect this place located in the deepest part of the planet. Huge metal base. Although the facilities are a little bit old, they are enough to serve as the cornerstone for recovery. The silver-gray metal figure stretched its metal arms to both sides and roared with an exciting voice filled with thick mechanical and electronic sounds. My people! Revive! We will use the stars under our feet as a fortress to challenge the angel who judges us. We must crush their hypocritical justice under our feet and explain to them the power of our evolutionary concept. Just listen to a slightly harsh sound of electricity stirring in the air, and invisible to the naked eye, your ring-shaped data flow spreads out around you. The underground base was swept by the data impact and was originally motionless. The indicator lights on the faces of humanoid machines standing everywhere suddenly lighted up. That was a sign that the machine had restarted operation, and it was also proof that countless people of the World Eater God had resurrected from dormancy and announced their return to the world. Lights lit up everywhere in the silent base, illuminating the interior like daylight. The reactor array absorbing star core geothermal and fusion energy deep in the base also emitted bursts of dazzling blue light. Huge amounts of energy poured into the base along the energy transmission pipes. Everywhere, it was as if fresh blood had been injected into the exhausted and decaying body. The Wuhang people who live on the surface of Wuxing are not yet aware of the drastic changes happening underground, and are still immersed in a prosperous and peaceful life. On Planet 6, which is not far from the U star and also belongs to the Klika star system. Because of its long distance from the star, there is no atmosphere on Planet 6, and there is no core geothermal heat. The surface is covered with rocks and desolate areas, full of dead silence. However, as blue ripples flashed by, a gorgeous door that was more than 3 meters high and made of white and gold alloy emerged from the void. An angel wearing a golden laid pattern that only high-level angels are qualified to wear appeared. A high-level angel in battle armor appears. Don't worry, Ziluo. I only left Merlot Heavenly Palace to conduct routine civilized observation work every 10 years. I'll be fine. After saying that, Yinga hung up the communication with her friend, set her sights on a blue and emerald planet in the distance, and flew in its direction with the wings behind her. Civilization Observer, this is a newly established position by Merlot Heavenly Court after the establishment of the Order of Justice. It is usually held by high-ranking angels. They observe some regional civilizations within the coverage of the Order of Justice once every 10 years, and collect some information and data for storage. Its main purpose is to inspect whether the situation of each civilization is safe and stable. The secondary purpose is to inspect civilizations under the Order of Justice and prevent them from violating the prohibitions established by the King of Angels or invading other civilizations. For those rulers who are arrogant and domineering in civilization and regard life as nothing, the King of Angels cannot be said to like it, or even hate it. As an angel regarded as a god by ordinary civilizations, although he will not intervene in the internal struggles of various civilizations under the banner of justice, he can, but they will secretly help some reformers whose actions are in line with the concept of justice. Yinga observed around the Wuxing star for half a month, and after confirming that the people of the Wuhang civilization lived and worked in peace and contentment, and that there were no large-scale natural disasters or invasions from other civilizations, she uploaded her observation results and left this place through the Stargate. The star system rushed to the next civilization that needed to be observed. The influence of the angelic order of justice after the disintegration of the Kamigawa civilization is gradually expanding with the development of time. In addition to the radiating influence of the blazing sun of heaven and the newly emerged civilization of the Dino double galaxy, most of the small and medium-sized civilizations in other galaxies have heard of it. A few advanced civilizations that broke away from the Kamigawa system, such as the Gulans and the Thunderblade stars, due to various internal or external problems, in order to avoid the conflict with the powerful angel civilization and the newly rising Dino, the heavenly Deo fiery sun. In the face of conflicts, they all chose to shrink their power and began to stay at home to build infrastructure or resolve internal conflicts. However, one thing is that all civilizations in the known universe are paying close attention to Kamigawa Academy's visit to the angel civilization Marrow Heaven. In fact, Kamigawa Academy has already arrived at the star system where Marrow Heavenly Court is located, and is parked next to Marrow Heavenly Court. Because of this incident, Merlot Heaven also left the fold of space for a long time and came to the known universe. However, the various protection systems did not relax because of this. Some of the high-ranking angels and god-level angels who originally guarded the Red Star Ring and other star fields were also recalled to Marrow Heaven. At one time, the number of god-level angels in Marrow Heaven exceeded 10. Mellow Heavenly Conference Hall. The spacious hall is surrounded by white jade-like walls, and various metal decorations are hung on the dome. Because of the careful layout and design, the soft light shining from the dome is not blocked. On both sides of the horizontal table, which was several meters long and looked like white jade, sat the senior officials of the angels and the senior officials of Shenhe Academy. The leaders were naturally Kesha, the king of angels, and Kong Kong, the principal of Shenhe Academy. As for your proposal, principal, I feel that it is too unfair to the angelic civilization. Kesha, who was sitting back on the smooth wooden cushioned seat and lightly pressing her chin with the index finger of one hand, spoke in a calm tone. Binghua and Hexi, who were sitting on the left and right of Kesha, were both silent. The two of them were simply here to support Kesha, to show the strength of the rapid development of angel civilization in recent years, and to negotiate with Shenhe Academy. Gain the initiative. When the Space Principal and the Angel King Kesha were discussing cooperation issues, the entourages of the two parties were also looking at each other. The new generation of high-level angels on the angel side all have a hint of curiosity and scrutiny about Kamigawa College, and their eyes are constantly looking at Texas, Carl, Kasha, and others. Because the new Kamigawa civilization has already announced its disintegration, and the alliance between the angel civilization and Kamigawa has been severed hundreds of years ago, the high-level angels are very curious about the purpose of these Kamigawa people who suddenly visited. Different from the curiosity on the angel side, Kamigawa's side was surprised with a hint of shock, shocked by the power and talent of the angel civilization. Because there are more than 10 god-level angels in the conference hall, that is, the combat god-level combat power in the Kamigawa system, not to mention the high-level angels who are responsible for standing guard inside and outside the entire conference hall. Queen Kesha, knowledge needs to be disseminated and popularized. Only in this way can different ideas collide and create sparks of inspiration. If both of us cling to the cultural heritage of the ancient Kamigawa, then what awaits us in the future will only be standing still. Hearing this, Kesha's beautiful eyebrows frowned slightly, and then she retorted. I admire your willingness to share knowledge as a civilization tutor. You can use the resources provided by our angels to teach students from other civilizations. Does this mean that you do not regard angels as partners? Binghua listened to the discussion between Kesha and Space and felt that Shenhe Academy was taking it for granted and wanted to slaughter the angel civilization as a fat sheep. Did he think that the top leaders of the angels were all fools? Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 480. Queen of Angels, our Kamigawa College has absolutely no such idea, and we have never thought of only allowing the angel civilization to contribute unilaterally. Space spoke quickly, fearing that Kesha would directly reject Kamigawa Academy's request for cooperation. Queen Kesha, you and I are both witnesses of the physical war, and we all know that what we have achieved is not a complete victory. Some of the Titans are far away in the depths of the universe, and the Triangle is even watching us from the edge of the known universe. Maybe one day in the future, the two parties will make a comeback, and then the known universe will be devastated again. Without the unified front restraint of the Kamigawa Civilization Organization, how many civilizations can be protected by relying solely on the righteous order of the angel civilization? In addition, Queen Kesha, you should be very clear about the current shortcomings of angel civilization. After finishing speaking, Space remained silent, waiting for Kesha's reply. Kesha fell into thinking. She knew very well what the shortcomings of angels in space discourse were. Ever since the female angels came to power in the Merlot heavenly court, the status of female angels has been equal to, or even slightly exceeded, that of male angels. As time went by, and because all important military and political positions in Merlot heaven were held by female angels, it was inevitable that the status of male angels began to decline. Even though Keisha and Binghua intended to control the situation and prevent it from getting worse, the reality did not develop as they thought, and the relationship between the male and female angels worsened. In the past, the image of male angels as violent and lustful was too solidified. As a result, the gap between male and female angels has never been truly eliminated. Therefore, there are fewer and fewer high-level and male angels settling in Merlot heaven. It's like a replica of the order in the heavenly palace when Huaya was in power, but it's not that strict. Male angels have just lost their evolutionary channels. At least they have the right to freely choose their own future. Most male angels who have lost the path to evolve towards high-level angels will eventually choose to leave Merlot heaven to find their own way. In the past 100 years, male angels have been as rare animals in Merlot heaven. Therefore, the birth rate of new angels has reached the lowest point in the history of angel civilization. According to the statistics of the angels responsible for this aspect in Merlot heaven, if this continues for 1,000 years, the number of settled angels in Merlot heaven will stop increasing and will gradually show a downward trend. As for why the number of total angels in Merlot heaven has decreased instead of increasing, this involves the order of justice. The prosperity of any civilization does not come without a price. Some are bought with the lives and bloody battles of fellow tribesmen, and some are bought with the pain of other weak civilizations. Some even prosper by relying on plunder and destruction. Angels are the first of the above. Relying on the dedication and bloody battles of countless angel warriors, angels now have a lofty status that is superior to countless civilizations and is revered as gods. As the master of civilization, Kesha attaches great importance to the prosperity of angel civilization, but she also knows that when a civilization loses its new generation, it will sooner or later end in destruction, so she has always been worried about it. Now listen to what Spacey means. Does he have a way to solve this problem? The fact is, just as Kesha thought just now, Space's bargaining chip is not only the supercomputer called the Big Clock. In order to win over angels to become their partners in Shenhe Academy, Space has dedicated time to study the social form of angel civilization and what they are doing now. Face the problem, so Space came up with a solution to get the best of both worlds. Seeing Kong Kong's confident look, Kesha narrowed her eyes and slightly opened her lips and asked, "Does the Space Principal have a way to solve the problems faced by the angel civilization?" With a faint smile on his face, Kong Space revealed what he had already prepared in his mind. "Queen Kesha, what angels face is nothing more than the inheritance of civilization. I have studied the history of your angels. Because of the war between male and female angels, angelic civilization has tended to develop towards a single-sex civilization. If this continues, angelic civilization will sooner or later become part of the historical record of the universe. Queen Kesha, there shouldn't be anything wrong with what I said, right?" Kesha nodded to indicate that Kong Kong was right. At the same time, she was surprised that Kong Kong knew so much about angel civilization. To be honest with Queen Kesha, our Kamigawa Academy has recently established a new super god-making project. In order to maximize the potential of this god-making project, we plan to introduce the male angel genes of the angel civilization as a genetic template. If this super engineering god-making project succeeds, Not only the angel civilization can obtain powerful male angel genes, but also female angel genes can benefit from it. Hexi, who was originally a little listless, perked up when he heard the mention of the God creation project in space, and his attention became focused from wandering in the sky. The same was true for Binghua, who was equally interested in Kamigawa's God of War project. Keisha was not tempted by the pie painted by space. After all, these are just one-sided words about space. In the end, the meeting ended with the two sides failing to reach a consensus and decided to postpone the discussion for a while. However, Kamigawa Academy has never left since it parked near Merlot Heaven, and it seems that it has identified Angel as a partner. In the following years, senior leaders from both sides would get together for discussions every 1 or 2 months, and both sides eventually made concessions to each other. The conditions of Kamigawa Academy were changed from allowing the angel civilization to use the celestial computer Big Clock and participating in the Super God of War project at the beginning, to Kamigawa Academy now disclosing the dark counter theory and logical calculation core data of the Big Clock, which is the basic framework of the celestial supercomputer. In addition, the Super God-making project established by Shenhe Academy has also been modified from the previous one that allowed angel civilization to participate in it to joint research and development by both parties. In the end, the two parties jointly established the Super Seminary. The 4 top kings of the angel civilization were appointed as the instructors of the college, and Space was appointed as the first principal of the Super Seminary. This condition was added by Kesha later, and its main purpose was to prevent the angel civilization from making wedding clothes for Kamigawa. In fact, Kesha originally wanted to name the academy Angel Academy, but she encountered fierce opposition from Kamigawa's side. In the end, she compromised and chose a name for the academy that had nothing to do with either party, but meant something beyond the gods. Then there are the conditions for Kamikawa Academy. The angel civilization will provide the daily resource consumption of the Super Seminary and provide it with force protection. Angels are obliged to cooperate with the regular research tasks of the Super Seminary. The angels will open their regular database to the Super Seminary, and the Super Seminary will also open their regular database to the angels. Finally, the Super Seminary has the right to recruit residents of any civilization in the known universe as students. As the last clause was confirmed by the leaders of both parties, the Super Seminary, which would affect the situation in the universe for tens of thousands of years, was officially established, and invitations to recruit students were sent to all Kamigawa system civilizations in the known universe. In the Super Seminary, Binghua looked up and stared at the Kamigawa characters engraved above the gate of the original Kamikawa Academy. After a moment, he looked away and walked into the academy. As a symbol of the close cooperation between the two parties, Binghua was also given the status of a tutor of the Super Seminary. However, he did not have any real power. He only had the authority to match his identity in the college system in name only. The same goes for Kesha, Liang Bing, and He 11, but they have the status of tutors in the academy. After all, it is impossible for the Super Seminary to really let a civilized king and the highest military and political officer teach students. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 481. Angels did not raise objections to the behavior of the Super Seminary, just as angels would never let outsiders participate in the decision-making of the Merlot Heavenly Meeting. In the same way, the data disclosed by the angels to space definitely does not include the latest angel supergenetic engineering information, the production and development technology of dark silver weapons, and the flaming sword. The same is true for space. In addition to most of Ko Kamigawa's conventional super warriors and genetic engineering, energy technology information, such as the anti-void of the law of antimatter conservation that he is secretly studying, wide area void energy, material world interference particles, space, etc. The technical information that is in the research and development stage will never be disclosed to the angels. As the super seminary began to recruit students, the known universe unexpectedly entered a very peaceful period. Some civilizations that were originally in conflict with each other also restrained their minions, hoping to seize this precious opportunity given by the super seminary. Catch the progress of the known universe. Almost immediately after the enrollment invitation was issued, the number of students in the Super Theological Seminary reached nearly 10,000, and the number of affiliated staff reached tens of thousands. The students who were originally in the Super Theological Seminary were honored to be promoted to have basic teaching qualifications. Teacher. Almost every civilization sent out the most talented students in their own civilization. Among them the former Shenhe Tiandao and the current Tiandao Liang stars were the most popular, because their civilization came to study the next crown prince Liang. Because the super seminary is separated by the Merlot heavenly court, the female angel guards on duty suffered a lot of harassment. After all, in the face of all the beauties who are over 90%, who are eye-catching and can fight, I believe any healthy male in civilization will be unable to restrain his strong hormones. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of years have passed since the establishment of the super seminary. Over time, several large factions have gradually differentiated within the super seminary. The first is the super gene god-making faction. This faction is composed of cutting-edge talents from various civilizations who are proficient in super genetic engineering research projects. The representative figures are the space student Carl and several students from the Dino galaxy. Next is the energy drive application faction. This faction mainly studies various energy drives, mutual conversion, and improvement of utilization efficiency. The representative figure is the space student Purcell, who has extremely profound insights into the application of stellar energy. In addition, the Crown Prince De Hungta from the Tiandao Liang star is a very good friend of Seer, and often conducts academic discussions with Seer. The third faction is a faction that mainly studies dark antimatter computers. Due to the threshold, this faction has the smallest number of people, and there are very few students who specialize in this faction in the super seminary. Under these three major factions, there are many academic subdisciplines, covering a series of large and small knowledge systems from materials, engineering, energy applications, etc. But there is only one thing. The super seminary will not teach or spread mature technologies. It will only teach students various theoretical knowledge from basic to advanced. Even so, those civilizations that have successfully sent their tribesmen to the super seminary are very excited, because this means that as long as those students graduate from the super seminary and return to civilization, their civilization will usher in the long-lost era of technological explosion. As the angel civilization that cooperates most closely with the super seminary, it has naturally gained a lot of benefits, the most important of which is the framework and core algorithm of the dark plane celestial computer. Although it is only a basic framework and algorithm, it is enough for angels to build their own dark plane celestial computer based on it. However, Angel does not have the physical model of the known universe of Kamigawa College, so it can only spend a long time collecting data on various galaxies in the known universe to build its own calculation model. As a tutor at the super seminary, Binghua's behavior is no different from that of ordinary students. He often wears casual clothes to listen to lectures in space and by some teachers in the college. However, because Binghua often disappeared for a period of time and never communicated with his students, Binghua didn't even have a single student friend in the college, but he had quite a few suitors. However, after Binghua showed a little bit of his power, those suitors chose to give up with great self-knowledge. Because the mere existence of Binghua itself makes them lose the courage to pursue it, and the difference in lifespan alone is enough to make more than 90% of people withdraw. This is the gap that can never be bridged between gods and mortals in the Kamigawa technology system. Super Theological Seminary is located in a large laboratory at the core. Hundreds of men and women wearing white lab coats are holding transparent tablets in their arms and constantly operating on them. In front of these researchers is a group of blue supergenomes suspended in the void. It is emitting a faint blue light at the moment and changes part of its shape from time to time. Your Excellency Hexi, the male angel genes you provided are quite different from the data of our divine body of Kamigawa. It seems that the problem of rejection between the two cannot be solved in a short time. Hexi, who was looking up at the supergenome, nodded slightly. It has been 100 years since Angel and Kamigawa cooperated to develop the super god-making project called the Power of Kamigawa, but the progress has been extremely slow. Of course, there are reasons why the super project called the Power of Kamigawa is extremely complex and uses many technologies that are still experimental. There are also reasons why both partners intentionally hide their own core technologies. The Super Seminary side hides the special third-generation divine body technology and the first-generation anti-void engine customized for the Power of Kamigawa. Void technology has always been a top priority of the Super Seminary. In the entire academy, only space itself knows the details. Even the angels who are partners have not received any information. The angel civilization on the other side that is responsible for providing male angel genes is not a fool. Kesha will never let the core data of angel super genes be mastered by outsiders. The super genes provided are all finished products that are complexly encrypted with sacred language. Researchers at the Super Seminary can only use it but cannot crack it, because as soon as they try to crack it, the male angel super provided by the angel will become messy, making it impossible to conduct super gene fusion research. However, the new divine body angel proposed by Kamigawa is quite interesting. It is a special third-generation divine body technology named Invincible Body by Kamigawa. However, it is only a concept so far, and there are no corresponding theoretical success cases. The next level third-generation divine body technology has completed theoretical certification and is rapidly improving details with the assistance of the big clock. Compared with Kamigawa's current second-generation divine body technology, the strength of the third-generation divine body has been further improved, the connection between each cell is closer, and the resistance to energy erosion has reached the extreme of conventional physics. The most important point is that the third-generation divine body has the ability to directly obtain energy from stars, and as long as the energy is sufficient, the third-generation divine body will not have a theoretical survival period. From this moment on, Super Seminary has taken the first step on the road to transcending gods. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 482. Supercells that have been modified by supergenes, like microcomputers, are used to provide energy, and an energy film at the particle level is formed on the body surface to isolate any attack from the outside. Closing the book with the cover of Divine Body Summary in his hand, Binghua's eyes fell on Kasha, who was sitting opposite without authorization, and a black-haired, red-eyed girl with whom he had met several times. "Hello, Binghua, long time no see." Kasha greeted her warmly, not caring that the two were actually just ordinary friends. Compared to Kasha's familiarity, the reaction of the girl next to her who looked like a girl was very interesting. Although her face was dull, there was clearly a trace of reluctance in her eyes. Summary of the Divine Body: I didn't expect you, Binghua, to read such basic things now. At this moment, the two girls Binghua and Kasha were sitting opposite each other, with a transparent window beside them that could see the green scenery outside. This is the leisure facility in Super Seminary. With the increase in the number of students in Super Seminary, the external population has made the college prosperous, and various entertainment and leisure facilities have also appeared one after another. The most popular among them is the bar where Binghua is located. It has a separate cubicle. There is a light natural fragrance floating in the air, and there is soothing music from an alien planet, making people who stay here unconsciously. It will relax your mind. After saying hello, Kaisha introduced the girl next to Binghua. "This is my senior sister Lan Bing, She is a pure descendant of Kamigawa. Hearing this, Hyuka felt a sense of curiosity. The descendants of Kamigawa she had seen so far were almost all mixed race except for space. Including Texas, Astrid, etc., they were all recruited as combatants after Kamigawa was destroyed. God has nurtured and raised you. According to the information reviewed by Hyuka, almost all the people of the ancient Kamigawa civilization were buried in that disaster. The surviving residents also wandered away one by one after that. Only the space with super genes and a few pure Kamigawa descendants survived. Come down. For example, Texas and the Kamigawa army under his command are only hybrids with part of the Kamigawa bloodline. Otherwise, they would not be able to be enhanced by the super genes customized for the Kamigawa people and become super soldiers. Her long, silky black hair is spread over her shoulders, and her beautiful face is flawless in line with the aesthetics of Kamigawa creatures. What attracts Binghua's attention the most is her pair of blood-like eyes, which add to the girlish look of Lan Bing. A touch of mystery. Based on the information gleaned from Kasha's words, Hyuka deduced that the girl like Lan Bing in front of her was probably a descendant of Kamigawa who was older than her. Binghua nodded to Lan Bing and said hello, and the other party responded in the same way. After all, the two parties had not had much communication before. After that, it was Kasha who was talking, and Binghua occasionally responded. During this period, Lan Bing just sat there quietly listening to their conversation, occasionally looking at the scenery outside the window. Until Kasha finally left with Lan Bing, Binghua, and she never spoke again. The super god-making project of the Super Seminary has reached a bottleneck due to the invincible body. However, as the principal, Kong Qing is not frustrated by this. He believes that solving this problem will only take a certain amount of time. With the assistance of a big clock, as long as the theory is correct, you can definitely find the path to success through countless deductions and calculations. On the other hand, space research on the void has also made some progress. After the big clock's 1854th simulation of the demise of the ancient Kamigawa civilization ended, space came to a surprising conclusion. That is, the destruction of ancient Kamigawa was by no means caused by nature. It was most likely due to the interference of mysterious alien beings, because the starting point of the destruction was from a certain area in the center of the ancient Kamigawa galaxy. It was a super catastrophe caused by the chain supernova explosion of countless stars. Any existence would be wiped out by this force that could be said to open up the world, and the ancient Kamigawa civilization, which was like a god in the past, was no exception. For this mysterious existence that destroyed the ancient Kamigawa, the space calls it the fear of the void. Void specifically refers to mysterious and unknown things in the ancient Kamigawa language, so it is a perfect word to describe this mysterious existence. In order to prevent the mysterious existence that destroyed the ancient Kamigawa civilization from reappearing, space has added 2 new god-building projects in addition to the original Power of Kamigawa Super God-Building Project. In the original plan, the Power of Kamigawa would be the main force to deal with the fear of the void. However, with the collection of data on the destruction of the ancient Kamigawa, the Power of Kamigawa alone may be difficult to deal with. These 2 newly added god-making projects are designed to assist the Power of Kamigawa to fight against the fear of the void. They are respectively the Edge of Kamigawa and the 3rd generation of Light of Kamigawa. Among them, Kamigawa's edge is sharp and unstoppable, and it is the sharp blade that opens up everything. The new generation of Kamigawa's light continues the ability of the previous generation, but it is more powerful and can carry the power of stars. It is the best guarantee on the battlefield. Can quickly restore energy. The above 3 major god-making projects were merged into the 3 major anti-void god-making projects in the plan list of the Super Seminary. At present, the completion progress of the project is less than 5%, and the day of success is still far away. Merlot Heavenly Palace, the Holy Expedition Palace where the Holy Left Wing is stationed. This palace is the military dispatch center of the angelic civilization and is also one of the newly built palaces in the past few hundred years. Binghua also moved here from the office area originally located next to the Holy Palace where the Angel King was located, and reviewed all military dispatch matters of the Angel civilization. Binghua sat there and flipped through the summary reports uploaded by the high-ranking angels under his command. Most of them were normal, and basically all the angel warriors stationed in the Red Star Ring had evacuated. Because there is no benefit to the angelic civilization by continuing to be stationed there, both high-ranking angels and ordinary angels were recalled to stabilize the rapidly developing order of justice. Because of the reputation of angelic civilizations for constantly fighting and suppressing those civilizations that are aggressive and wantonly wage wars, there are now very few civilizations that openly undermine the stability of the just order. But Binghua knew that this was just an appearance, so she increased her investment in civilized observers and transferred more high-level angels with many years of combat experience into this department. Just as Binghua was reviewing and giving instructions on some materials, a burst of rapid prompts kept sounding. Binghua looked to one side and found that the familiar figure who had been following him was no longer there, and couldn't help but sigh. A lot of things happened during the hundreds of years of cooperation between Super Theological Seminary and Merlot Heavenly Court. Among them, Jingnan, who was Binghua's assistant, hooked up with Texas at some point. Binghua didn't have any objections to this. Why did the female angels resist the male angels? It was not to get back the right to control their own destiny. In addition, there is no ban on this in the angel civilization, so Binghua often gives Jingnan a vacation, intending to bring the two of them together, but he doesn't know if Texas can seize the opportunity. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 483. Opening the communication list, Binghua discovered that it was an emergency communication from the Civilization Observation Department. His heart suddenly moved and he had a bad feeling. This is the Holy Left Wing, what's going on? Queen Iceflower, our Civilization Observation Department lost contact with a civilization observer yesterday. After that, we sent an elite team to investigate according to the response plan. As a result, our team found something very important there, so we bothered you, Queen. Binghua then asked what the important discovery was, and the answer from the angel of the Civilization Observation Department made Binghua's beautiful eyebrows frown unconsciously. After our team members arrived at the location where the civilized observers lost contact, they compared the star map and found that the black star that was originally located in that star system mysteriously disappeared. After that, the team members we sent read the dark information at the same location, but because the chaotic energy residue disrupted our reading, no valuable information was found. After hanging up the communication, Binghua rested his elbows on the table and fell into deep thought. A planet mysteriously disappeared. This was definitely not a small matter. The known methods that can make a planet disappear without a trace are nothing more than space exile and space jump. As for the super weapon that simulates a black hole and swallows stars, the remaining traces are too obvious and cannot be read by the angels responsible for the investigation. No information available. After calling up all the information about Wuxing in the angel database, Binghua began to check if there was anything special about this planet. Since the civilization on the Black Star was willing to accept the angels' concept of justice, Binghua checked all the reports about the Black Star uploaded by the Civilization Observer's Angel, but found no useful information. Afterwards, Binghua looked at the information about the missing civilized observer and discovered that it turned out to be a very senior high-level angel warrior named Yinga. I also have some impressions of this high-level angel Binghua. He is one of the many angels who have made great achievements in the physical war. He has participated in almost all battles against the animal civilization, and it is possible for such an experienced veteran warrior to even have information. If it cannot be sent out, it will lose contact with Merlot Heaven. There must be a lot of secrets hidden in it. Although Binghua was meditating in his palace, the Civilization Observation Department did not give up the investigation. Shortly after the Angel team responsible for investigating the news in the original Black Star area sent back the information, a scientific research-type Skysword assault ship carrying 150 Angels set off from the Mellow Heavenly Court. After sailing in the constructed ultra-long-distance jump navigation channel for several days, the scientific research warship finally successfully arrived at its destination more than 1 million light-years away from the Angel Nebula. Compared with the Angel team, which can only rely on reading dark information in space to collect intelligence, this scientific research-type Tianjian battleship is equipped with analytical instruments specially used by the Scientific Research Department to analyze energy and space jump traces, as well as a medium-sized shipborne supercomputer. In the Scientific Research Department of Merlot Heaven, He-11 put down the teacup in his hand and happened to look through the information about the loss of contact with the civilized observers among many messages. After reading it, he shook his head slightly and sighed. I never thought something like this could happen. As the developer in charge of Angel genes and many Angel cutting-edge technologies, He-11 is very aware of the powerful survivability and combat capabilities of high-level Angels. And for a high-level Angel to lose contact with Merlot Heaven without even being able to send a message, the danger exposed in this is definitely not small. However, He-11 just thought about it for a moment and then put it behind her, because this matter was not her business and it was useless to think about it anymore. She might as well think about how to transform the frame of the big clock into one that is compatible with Angel technology. Celestial Computer Framework. In the Kulka star system, in an orbit of the original number 4 planet Black Star, a 100-meter-long sword-mounted battleship with a main body of gold and silver is parked here. At this moment, in an analysis room inside the battleship, more than a dozen scientific research Angels were staring closely at the data refreshed in the projection in front of them, for fear of missing any abnormal spatial wave number. 2 Angel warriors standing guard outside the analysis room were chatting in private communications. It's been several days. I don't know when they will find the matching spatial fluctuations. It's useless to worry. We are not scientific research Angels. We can't understand the frequency data of space waves, so we can't be of much help. Yes, I hope the sisters inside can complete the screening of space waves as soon as possible. Finally, with the efforts of more than a dozen scientific research Angels, and after spending more than 10 days, they finally found the space wave during the period when the Black Star disappeared. Then by filtering out these space waves one by one and comparing them with the Angels' jump data, the scientific research Angels came up with a rough range of coordinates on the star map. When the news came back to the Merlot Heavenly Court, 50 Heavenly Sword assault ships carrying 100 battle Angels set off from the Sky Harbor to the star field to search for the missing Black Star. One of the Sky Sword assault ships was accompanied by a high-level Angel, who was none other than the anxious Angel Zilluo. The Angel Nebula is more than 200,000 light-years away in a star field with relatively sparse distribution of stars. The Heavenly Sword Zilluo is moving forward while scanning the nearby star field. At this moment, several months have passed since the Black Star disappeared. Even if we have the approximate coordinates, it is still too slim to search for a planet that can make space jumps in the vast sea of stars. As for why the Sky Blades with a wider scanning range are not dispatched to search, it is because the Sky Blades all have their own cruise missions and cannot be allocated too many, because there are only 85 Sky Blade warships currently in service. Guards the Celestial City and cruises the Angel Nebula and several nearby star systems within the confines of the Order of Justice. Just when the expectations in Zilluo's heart were about to be wiped out by time, communications from other heavenly swords came through the communication channel. Sky Sword number 2586 is calling all nearby friendly Sky Swords. The soldiers we dispatched have discovered an abnormal star field and are about to investigate. Anyone who receives this communication is requested to go to the location of our ship immediately. At Zilluo's signal, Captain Tianjian nodded slightly and replied in the communication. The heavenly sword No 0526 has been received and is heading to the coordinate location. 0526 Tianjian, which was originally heading forward, began to turn, and at the same time notified the nearby reconnaissance battle angel to return to the ship. After Ziluo left the bridge, he came to a combat platform. He looked into the dark void of the universe, pursed his lips lightly, and looked forward to it. He closed his eyes and clasped his hands together to pray to his queen. If any angels familiar with Ziluo see this scene, they will definitely be surprised, because the Ziluo they are familiar with will never show such an expression. She is an extremely powerful warrior. Even on the most dangerous battlefield, she can always with an excited smile. However, even if Ziluo's heart is strong, when the whereabouts of the people closest to him are unknown, he will inevitably reveal his most vulnerable side. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 484. What is going on? How could it become like this? When Ziluo's Tianjian arrived at the rendezvous position, the scene that appeared in front of them was not pretty. There were no angel companions waiting for them at the rendezvous point, only dozens of angel corpses floating randomly in space. Ziluo, who flew out of the heavenly sword, came to the nearest body of a female angel. His eyes swept over the blood-stained wings and the wounds of the torn armor on her abdomen, and she clenched her fists unconsciously. Sister Ziluo. I found a sister who is still alive here. Upon hearing this, Ziluo immediately flew over, his eyes flashing a faint silver light as he glanced at a female angel warrior with her eyes tightly closed, her chest armor and stomach stained with blood, held in the arms of an angel warrior. Then Ziluo immediately ordered. Send this sister to the ship for treatment immediately, and report the situation to me as soon as she wakes up. Yes, Sister Ziluo. Watching the angel warrior leave with his injured companion in his arms, Ziluo gave instructions to the angel warriors scattered around. Contain the bodies of the sisters and check if there is any danger in the surroundings. Remember to be careful. After receiving the order, a group of angel warriors immediately divided the work. Some flew towards the surrounding star field, and some began to collect the remains of the dead angel warriors. As for Ziluo, he held the flaming sword to hold down the formation to prevent unexpected situations. Why did so many battle angels die here, and where did the 2586 heavenly sword that sent the rendezvous signal go? No angel could answer Ziluo's doubts at the moment, but she had a hunch that the culprit who caused Yinga to lose contact might be nearby. As the most powerful battle angel in this search operation, although Ziluo is eager to find his good sister Yinga, he will not lose his mind. After several months of investigation, Binghua once again received the latest report from the Civilization Observation Department, and there was new progress in the disappearance of the Black Star. The Sky Sword fleet searching for the Black Star in the coordinate star field encountered its target and lost one Sky Sword. There were a total of 123 angels on board, only one survived, and the rest fought until the last moment. However, the sacrifice of these angel warriors was not in vain. They successfully preserved the battle data, that is, the surviving angel warrior. According to the self-report of the angel warrior who woke up, it was her sisters who paid the price with their lives to send her out of the huge cage. However, she was also seriously injured at the last moment, and it was difficult for her to even repair herself. If she hadn't been discovered by the searching angels, she would probably have been drifting in that star field until she died. Afterwards, the scientific research angels at the Scientific Research Department organized the battle data uploaded by the angel warrior through data conversion and converted it into image data that can be easily read. In the image data, Sky Sword number 2586, which was on a search mission, suddenly received a positioning signal from the computing cloud built into the Lion-class weapon while scanning the nearby star field. However, before the angels on the ship could interpret the information carried in the signal was suddenly cut off. But this was enough to attract the attention of the captain of number 2586 Tianjian, so after sending the positioning signal coordinates to the surrounding friendly forces and requesting rendezvous, they sailed to the coordinate point as quickly as possible. Unexpectedly, what is waiting for them is not the lost civilization observer Yinga, but Wu Xingxing, who has mysteriously disappeared for half a year. Then, before number 2586 Heavenly Sword made its next move, the terrifying gravity captured it and pulled it towards the surface of the Black Star. Then countless small shuttle-shaped aircraft poured out from the Black Star's atmosphere, which seemed to want to capture the Sky Sword number 2586. After discovering that they could not escape the unknown gravity attack, as noble angels, the angel warriors who were revered as gods by mortals under the order of justice naturally would not surrender. Even though there were only 100 warriors in the ship, they still raised their swords to face the enemy. Immediately afterwards, a big battle began. On one side were the angel warriors who were covering each other in a defensive formation, and on the other side were unmanned attack aircraft that came in like a tide. Using the heavenly sword as a bunker and fulcrum, more than 100 angel warriors fought hard for nearly an hour before the defense line collapsed. But before that, the angels also successfully took advantage of the weakened gravity attack during the battle to organize a breakthrough team. But those unmanned attack drones had no intention of letting these angel warriors leave, and kept chasing them. In the end, only one angel warrior in the team that broke out survived, and that was the angel who was rescued by Ziluo. According to current information, the star Wu seems to be occupied by a mysterious civilization. There are large-scale traces of transformation on the planet's surface. It also has the ability to jump through space, which is almost no different from the planetary fortress. The combat power of a Sky Sword ship was no longer enough to protect itself when encountering an existence of this level, so Binghua recalled those Sky Swords responsible for the search and prepared to use the real combat sequence of the angel civilization. Soon all the high-ranking angels who were left behind and on leave in the Merlot Heavenly Court and were affiliated with the Holy Left-Wing Command sequence received the assembly order. This sudden action even alarmed Kesha, the King of Angels. However, Kesha only spent less than a minute to understand the ins and outs of the matter. Then she stopped paying attention to the matter and continued to use her super high efficiently handle large and small matters reported by various star regions. One after another, high-level angels flew to the Holy Expedition Hall from all over Merlot Heaven, and then strode in. Soon, hundreds of high-level angels gathered in the originally empty hall, and the leader of them was god-level combatants. Angels Angel Burn and Angel Pluto. As Binghua sat at the highest point of the hall, the angels below also stood on both sides, looking in Binghua's direction. Everyone is summoned here today not for anything else, but for the recent incident of Wu Xingxing. Binghua was the first to speak up and break the silence. After looking around for a week, he revealed the purpose of summoning all the angels. Many high-ranking angels in the hall heard this, and although they seemed calm on the surface, they were all exchanging recent known information with familiar angels in their own private communication channels. Although Wu Xingxing's mysterious disappearance has entered the vision of the angels' higher UPS, its spread among the middle levels is extremely limited. This is even if Binghua did not specifically block it. The reason for this phenomenon is that the area under the jurisdiction of angel civilization is too broad. Often a high-level angel needs to monitor the abnormal conditions of as few as a dozen or as many as hundreds of small star systems. Although the brain of a supercomputer allows these angels with beautiful and fragile appearance to be qualified for this job, it also takes up most of their time, leaving them no time to pay attention to things that have nothing to do with themselves. However, it only took a moment for the high-level angels present to read the whole story of the Black Star incident, and the one standing at the head of the team said in a voice, wantonly occupying the planetary civilization protected by the order of justice and killing the angel warriors who went to investigate is tantamount to provoking us angels. The high-level angels present all agreed. As old angels who have experienced countless bloody battles, they will not stop because of the power and mystery of the enemy. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 485. Seeing that the angels below were almost discussing in the communication, Binghua spoke again, his voice full of traces of transformation and a large number of armed forces. In order to prevent the sacrifice of the soldiers in vain, I have recalled the Tianjian fleet cruising in the nearby star field. But this does not mean that we angels have revealed this matter. Since the target has the courage to challenge the righteous order, I believe that he is already ready to become the enemy of our angels, so we cannot be too stingy. After saying the above words, Binghua put his eyes on Ran and asked, Ran, how many combat units are left in the mellow heavenly court now? How many angel warriors can be mobilized by the cruising sky blades in each star field while maintaining their cruise? Reporting to the Queen, there are currently 8 idle Skyblade combat units left in the mellow heavenly court. The Skyblades patrolling in each starfield can allocate 10% of the combat troops. Binghua calculated in his mind that a Skyblade combat unit consists of 1 Skyblade battleship carrying 50,000 battle angels and 10 Sky Sword battleships carrying 500 battle angels. The 8 Skyblade combat units amount to 440,000 angel warriors. Together with the battle angels dispatched by the Skyblade, it is enough to form an expeditionary legion of 1 million angels. However, Binghua did not intend to go to such great lengths. To deal with a mere black star, there was no need for the angelic civilization to go to war in such a big way. Finally, Binghua began. The Black Star incident has had a great impact on the prestige of our angel civilization, but the order of justice must not be shaken, so we angels must send combat forces to conquer. Ran, you will lead the team this time. I will divide 2 Skyblade combat units for you to command. At the same time, I will notify the Sakaz civilization, Cyber civilization, Kebrai and Migra people to send out combat legions to assist in the operation. Ran, who was below, took a step forward, raised his hand to his chest and saluted, "You are the queen, I will definitely burn all the evil people who occupy Wu Xing Xing." Binghua then called out the names of a dozen high-level angels present again, asking them to accompany him as high-level combat forces. As the strategy against the Black Star was formulated, the mellow heavenly court, the highest power center of the angelic civilization, began to operate at a speed that was unimaginable in the eyes of ordinary civilizations. As soon as Binghua finished the meeting, the combat angels who were idle in the Merlot heavenly court received a gathering order. Whether they were accompanying their parents at home or playing with flowers and plants in the room, they all put down everything on hand and tidied up at will. Spread your wings and fly towards the combat unit to which you belong. Sakaz is a devout civilization of angels. The current savior angel cult is more than 100 years old. After hearing God's call, the old pope burst into tears with excitement. Because the God they believed in finally called them again after hundreds of years apart. God needed their help, and they would devote all their strength to God. After the Pope was happy, he put away his makeup and immediately started a religious meeting. He summoned all the captains of the Guardian Knights and the captains of the Guardian Legion and began to discuss the preparations for the Holy War. As for the top administrator of the Sakaz civilization, who had been working diligently, forgotten. But this is normal. As a civilization where all people believe in angel religion, the Pope is the supreme leader of the civilization, and the chief executive is just a steward who usually handles large and small affairs. The Angel of Salvation sect has existed as the state religion of the Sakaz civilization for more than 4,000 years. Since the Sakaz civilization was saved by the Sky Sword King more than 4,000 years ago, this sect began to grow rapidly and controlled the insufficient population at that time. Everything from the tens of millions of Sakaz civilizations. However, the Pope at that time was a die-hard believer in angels, and the entire sect was extremely devout to angels. Although its teachings were a bit extreme, they were in line with the moral concepts of angels. The angelic civilization at that time did not interfere. As the physical war started, the Sakaz civilization at that time also responded to the call of the angel civilization, and sent all the elites of the civilization at that time to the Red Star Ring with the angels, and devoted themselves to what they considered to be a holy war. During the physical war, the elites of the Sakaz civilization suffered heavy losses. After all, the enemies were the rough-skinned animal civilization and the Titans, who were like living gods. It was a blessing that the entire army was not wiped out. However, after the end of the physical war, the Sakaz civilization relied on the large amount of resources and territory obtained in the physical war to rapidly expand, and its strength also reached the first echelon of the Angel Nebula, except for the Angel civilization. Of course, the secret support of the Angel civilization is indispensable. Binghua still has a good impression of the civilization that responds to the call again and again and rushes to the front in battles. Of course, he is not stingy with some small help. After the order of justice was established, the Sakaz people also accompanied the warriors of the Angel civilization to suppress hostile civilizations many times. They were considered one of the civilizations that Binghua's subordinates must bring with them when they go to war. Needless to say, as for the Kybrai and Migra civilizations, as the civilizations that jumped out of Merlot Heavenly Palace in the early days of its establishment and were easily suppressed to death by Binghua, they have no right to refuse recruitment, otherwise they will be greeted by absolute destruction. Of course, at this moment, the Kybrai and Megara civilizations did not reject the idea of recruiting the Angel civilization, because the Angel Nebula has the great god Angel sitting in charge, and no one dares to jump around, so there is almost no chance of rapid expansion. Fighting with their master Angel is one of the few opportunities for the two civilizations to develop rapidly. To this day, the two civilizations still miss the happy time after the end of the physical war. As for the new cyber civilization that entered the ranks of the Angel Auxiliary Army, it was one of the civilizations that was suppressed by Hizui and his troops during the establishment of the Righteous Order. The structure of this civilization is very strange. It is different from the Kamigawa-style technological development model of most civilizations in the known universe, and has blazed a unique path of its own. Their biochemical and mechanical modification technology is extremely advanced. The entire cyber civilization is composed of deeply modified cyborgs. When children are 5 years old, they will undergo brain electronic auxiliary chip modification surgery to have the ability to control electronic products with their consciousness. After being defeated in the war with the angels, the cyber civilization became one of the subordinate civilizations under the angels. 1 month after the recruitment was sent out, Sarkaz and the cyber civilization were the first to gather their forces, and then various civilizations also completed their preparations. After replenishing various supplies and angels, Tianren, who was responsible for carrying out this mission, finally left the heavenly harbor in Merlot Heaven and arrived at the rendezvous point first through a jump voyage. On the balcony of a tall building in the Super Seminary next to Merlot Heavenly Court, Liangbing looked at the heavenly blade that gradually jumped into the space wormhole, shook his head slightly and turned to speak to the blond young man beside him. I really don't understand what my sister is thinking about all day long. For the sake of those who have nothing to do with angelic civilization, angel warriors are put in danger. The blond young man thought for a few seconds before saying, "This may be the order of justice." Liangbing waved his hand, took the lead to leave the balcony and walked into the room, with an expectant smile on his lips, and interrupted. "Forget it, it doesn't matter whether it's orderly or not. I'm only interested in the Kamigawa genetic programming you mentioned, Carl. Let's go into the room and have a good in-depth discussion." Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 486. The Aralak star field is a relatively deserted star field, and the star systems here are generally far away from each other. Among them are many fragmented planetary debris scattered in settlements. It seems that in the ancient eternal era, a great war once took place here, and these planetary debris are the traces left by that war. However, in the past, only a few long-distance mining ships came here to collect resources. The Aralax star field has become extremely lively during this time. At first, a small fleet of the Angel civilization, the most famous in the known universe, came here to explore. But after a while, the small fleet of the Angel civilization withdrew, and two new giant motherships, Skyblade, and a group of small frigates, Sky Sword, arrived. Even outside the Aralax star field, there were several more Skyblades cruising recently. Markov. In order to monitor the real-time position of the Black Star, Angel, in addition to the two main Skyblade combat units dispatched, also assigned the task of monitoring the surrounding star fields to the Skyblades cruising in the nearby star field. As the commander of this war, Rand did not choose to attack the Black Star immediately after he led his men to the Aralax star field. Instead, he hung far behind it, planning to wait for the armies of affiliated civilizations to arrive and fight in a division. Win or lose. Wu Xingxing did not jump away. It is not known whether he was unable to jump again or had other plans, but it was obvious that both sides were making final preparations for the next war. Finally, after the two sides went in circles for more than a month, the affiliated civilization armies of the Angel civilization arrived in the Aralax star territory and merged with Rand's Skyblade fleet. This time, because it was a critical battle against the planet, various civilizations dispatched a large number of planetary landing troops. Among them, Sarkaz sent 80,000 Guardian Knights and 5 million Guardian Corps. Cyber civilization also dispatches a large number of elites from its own civilization, including 50,000 heavily armored legions, 1 million highly modified advanced warriors, and 3 million organized legion troops. The Kybrei and Megara civilizations also dispatched their own space army combat troops. Excluding the fleets of various civilizations, the number of troops used in the Logan battle alone exceeded 30 million. This is Binghua's biggest support to Ran, and this is just the vanguard of various affiliated civilizations. Unlike the sparse Angel civilization, even the most sparsely populated Sakaz civilization among these affiliated civilizations can easily piece together more than 100 million combat troops. When the Angel side was ready, and the whole army moved out to press against the Black Star also stopped moving with a tacit understanding. In the end, the two sides collided in a remote space area that was 1 light-year away from the nearest star. Together, the flames of excitement burned in the armies of affiliated civilizations participating in the war. At this moment, they were no longer soldiers of their respective civilizations, but sharp blades in the hands of the gods they believed in, crushing all enemies who dared to stand in the way of the just order. When the Angel's mixed fleet approaches, the mysterious forces occupying the Black Star are also well prepared. Under the darkening atmosphere, there are countless orbital defense forts pointing straight into the sky. When the black atmosphere in the area facing the Angel mixed fleet spreads out, countless ultra-powerful beams of light rise from the surface of the planet, cross the starry sky and arrive in front of the mixed fleet. The mixed fleet was not prepared in advance and was caught off guard. The 100-meter-long warship was easily penetrated by the beam from the surface of the Black Star. Even the capital ships of various civilizations were in danger after being hit by several rounds. Except for Tianren, who was unscathed, all affiliated civilizations suffered considerable losses. As the commander-in-chief, Ran could only issue an order to retreat in order to stop the losses. Then Ran led the fleet to tentatively launch attacks from all directions of the Black Star. The result was the same. The entire Black Star was like a prickly hedgehog, covered with dense orbital defenses. Ran also tried to conduct long-range orbital bombing from beyond the range of Wuxingxing's orbital defenses. Unfortunately, Wuxingxing had some extremely complete interception methods. As for why Tianren did not launch a Star Destroyer strike, it is because the Black Star has the ability to move and is not a regular planet. It has a high probability of being avoided. In addition, the distance from the nearest star is far, resulting in slow energy supply. Therefore, Star Destroyer the strike plan was also abandoned. In a hall located in the upper part of the Skyblade, commanders from various affiliated civilizations gathered together. When these people, tall or short, with different looks but all classified into the Divine River Creature category, boarded the Skyblade, everyone is shocked by the comfortable environment here, which is like a normal life planet. If it weren't for the cosmic void that covered their heads with sparse starlight, they would probably have thought that they had stepped onto a habitable planet at this moment. One of the old men, wearing a red robe embroidered with gold-threaded feathers, closed his eyes and sniffed the air carefully after boarding the Skyblade. After a while, he opened his eyes and clasped his hands together and said piously, "Is this the abode of God? I have no regrets in being able to set foot here in this life." One of the companions, a man over 2 meters tall, wearing a dark military uniform, with lightning-like metal lines on his face and a pair of cold red eyes, snorted disdainfully. Several other representatives of affiliated civilizations with different expressions bypassed the representatives of the Sakaz civilization who were praying devoutly and continued to move forward. Under the leadership of the angel warriors, these civilization representatives arrived at their destination, a conference hall located in the upper body of the Skyblade. Ran Gao, who was wearing armor and stomach, was at the top of the list. His golden hair was tied behind his head, and his blue eyes seemed to be looking down at everyone present. Of course, this was just the illusion of the representatives of civilization. Seeing that representatives from various civilizations had arrived, Ran opened his mouth and got straight to the point. "I am the Supreme Commander of the Angels in this battle, high-ranking Angel Ran. You can call me Angel Ran." The representative of the Sakaz civilization sitting at the top on the left immediately raised his hand and saluted respectfully. "Dear God of Thunder, your devout believers would like to say hello to you." Ran nodded in a friendly manner, and representatives of other civilizations were also very surprised by Ran's identity. They thought that the angels would only send an experienced high-level angel as the commander, but they did not expect that it was the Thunder God of War who once guarded the Red Star Ring. The title Thunder God of War did not come from angels and affiliated civilizations at first, but from animal civilizations, and was slowly spread by various civilizations. Because Ran's fighting style is often accompanied by roaring thunder and lightning, those scared beast warriors call Ran the Thunder God of War. After previous testing, I believe that everyone who is doing this already has a certain understanding of our enemy this time. It is unrealistic to rely on our current military strength and fleet to force the past because we cannot afford the losses. Then if Your Excellency Thunder God of War has any suggestions, I'm all ears. The representative from the cyber civilization spoke first, filled with the ability of a soldier. Ran did not worry about the name of the cyber representative. He directly called up the projection of Wu Xing, pointed at one of the areas and said, "It's out of the question. I plan to launch a small-scale assault and landing battle to paralyze the orbital defense facilities in this area, and then establish a stable wormhole passage in its place. By then, Wu Xing's orbital defense facilities will naturally become decorations." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 487. The civilized representatives present had no objections to the method mentioned by Angel Ran. For planets with tight defenses, launching local assault and landing operations is the only way to reduce losses. As long as the landing force can gain a foothold and destroy the orbital defense and interception facilities on the planet, it can allow the fleet to approach and use orbital bombardment to further gain a war advantage. The landing location of Wuxingxing chosen by Angel Ran in the projection is also very good. It is located on the side of a rolling mountain range, which can effectively block the enemy's attack speed in one direction and reduce the defensive pressure. Now that the main thrust of the battle has been decided, all that remains is to formulate a detailed battle plan for the landing. All the representatives of civilization looked at each other, but no one spoke first. No one wanted to be the first person. A surprise landing battle was not a good job, and it often resulted in huge casualties. This is not the most important thing. If the landing operation fails, not only will there be heavy casualties, but it will also be humiliated among the many angel-affiliated civilizations. The representative of the Sakaz civilization sat there quietly and did not make a sound, because the Sakaz people are not good at assault landing warfare. For some reasons, their civilization's armament development is a bit scientific and they do not have excellent high-speed assault vehicles. As for the elite guardian knights of the Sakaz civilization, since they are heavily armored units, the targets of the airdrop pods used for regular landings are too large and can easily become targets of anti-aircraft firepower. As for the Skitarii, they lack heavy firepower. Even if they reach the ground, they will not be able to defend themselves against enemy attacks for a long time, let alone destroy the orbital defenses. Ran didn't care about the inner thoughts of the representatives of each civilization, because Ran had already confirmed the candidates for the vanguard of the landing operation, and that was the heavy armored legion of the cyber civilization. This is the result of a careful comparison of the combat effectiveness and equipment of the landing troops of various civilizations. Just as the representatives of the Sakaz civilization thought, because the enemies and environments of each civilization are different, their combat styles are very different. Among them, Sarkaz has been fighting against the beast-like civilization of the Red Star Ring all year round. As a result, their fighting style tends to be heavy and heavy. They usually fight steadily and push aside all enemies in front of them. The troops of Kybre and Magrath are the conventional combat troops of various civilizations. They are an organized legion composed of soldiers equipped with light exoskeleton armor and various support vehicles. Most of the armies of other affiliated civilizations are like this. Only the cyber civilization is special. Due to the development of physical transformation and electronic technology, the most ordinary soldiers in the cyber civilization also have extremely strong combat capabilities. The modified mechanical eyes of cyber civilization soldiers have various conventional scanning capabilities, and the chip implanted in the brain is like a computer, which can build a local area network and share real-time intelligence with other companions around them. Coupled with the advanced weaponization technology of limbs in the cyber civilization, the soldiers of the cyber civilization are like war machines with extremely strong combat effectiveness. Even angels were eaten when they first came into contact with the cyber civilization. A big dark loss. Ran is attracted by the powerful individual combat power of cyber civilization, and with the cooperation of angels, he believes that defending an area will not be a problem. Cyber civilization cannot refuse the assignment from angels. This is the price for continuing to exist as a civilization. All civilizations that have ever opposed angels or been enemies of angels have two choices after defeat. The first is destruction. For the sake of the stability of the righteous order, the angels will mercilessly purify the civilization without leaving any survivors. The second is to become an affiliated civilization of angels, contribute their own strength to the righteous order, and fight for angels when they are in need. The fleet parked some distance away from the Black Star began to change its formation, and some warships belonging to the cyber civilization began to move forward, most of which were transport ships. Then some scientific research angels flew out from the Skyblade, leading the engineering robot Sky Sword, and began to coat the transport ships of these cyber civilizations with anti-detection coatings. Then a total of about 10,000 angel warriors boarded the cyber civilization transport ship. After completing the preliminary preparations for the assault and landing, the combined fleet was divided into two. The warships of Tianren and many other civilizations began to circle to the other side of the Black Star with great fanfare, intending to conduct a feint attack to attract the enemy's attention. It is said to be a feint attack, but if it can really achieve results, the so-called feint attack can turn into a real attack at any time. Inside the cyber transport ship, which was filled with a metallic silver-gray style, the originally solemn atmosphere became more lively due to the arrival of a group of angels. The female angels who boarded the battleship gathered together in twos and threes to talk and play without any nervousness, which was in sharp contrast to the silent Cybermen sitting neatly in the transport cabin next door. A tall saber whose body surface was covered with pitch-black armor, with internal transmission lines exposed at the cracks in his neck, sat in his seat, firmly fixed by a device extending from his head. At this moment, these seemingly silent and tall Cybermen were chatting fiercely in unknown communications. "This time we will fight with angels, but looking at their weak looks, I doubt they will be scared to death by the cruelty of the battlefield. You're overthinking number 225. Those angels don't look at their thin arms and legs. In terms of combat ability, they can squeeze out your rake with one hand. Number 234, you are exaggerating. We are all modified warriors who have undergone full body transformation. In terms of strength, we can easily overturn a support tank. I don't believe that those angels can defeat it with their flesh and blood bodies. My upgraded metal body." Listening to the discussion among his boys, as the commander of this unit, Captain number 124 felt a little helpless. Because of the passage of time, the new generation of cyber civilization has forgotten the power of angel civilization. With the support of their own powerful bodies after transformation, the new generation gradually developed a sense of pride. However, as a captain, one of the few who has fought with angels, he is very aware of the power of angels, which can truly kill them at will. Stop your discussion on the 225th and 234th. It is during the war. Prepare your bodies. Otherwise, no one will be able to save you when you get to the battlefield. At this moment, the lights in the cabin suddenly dimmed and turned into a dazzling red, which was the signal that the battle had begun. The cyber soldiers who were discussing the issue of female angels in the communication also fell silent. The female angel soldiers who were standing or sitting in the next cabin also spontaneously formed a team with their teammates to stand still. The cyber warships originally parked in the outside world began to sail towards the Black Star. At the same time, the other end of the Black Star used the Sky Blade as a fortress. The combined fleet that rushed within the range launched a saturation bombing attack on the Black Star. But Wuxingxing also showed its abnormal interception system, intercepting 90% of the attacks in the outer orbit. The remaining ones passed through the black dust that filled the atmosphere and landed on the surface with great power. Save one. This discovery made Angel Ran, who commanded the combined fleet, feel a sinking feeling. Those things that looked like dust could actually absorb energy, which undoubtedly made the already difficult long-range bombing even more difficult to carry out. The cyber battleships on the other side that arrived at the predetermined position stopped, because they would be discovered by Wu Xingxing's detection system if they moved forward with the Angel's temporary shielding equipment, but the distance was enough for the carrier aircraft to deploy the airdrop capsule. The location is designated. As the doors of the storage compartments on the ship's hull rose upwards, a female angel who ignored the emergency loss of pressure rushed into the space and guarded the side of the cyber battleships. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 488. Female angels fluttering their wings rushed out of the Cybermen's warships like superfast space fighter planes, along with shuttle carriers with airdrop pods hanging underneath. This sudden scene was obviously beyond the expectations of the mysterious civilization on the Black Star. It was unable to react for a moment, and the expected attack did not arrive immediately. It was not until the cyber civilization's shuttle and the nearby angel warriors were about to reach the outer space orbit of the Black Star that they encountered the expected attack. Thick beams of light that can easily penetrate space battleships traverse the sky from the surface of the Black Star, passing by the attacking angels and shuttles, and shooting into the depths of the universe. Compared to the angel warriors who can calculate in advance to a certain extent and predict the attack on the orbital defense facilities of the Black Star, the shuttle pilots of the cyber civilization can only rely on experience and luck to shuttle through these firepower nets that can easily vaporize their vehicles. From time to time, a shuttle would appear, along with the airdrop pod attached to it, which would be swallowed up by the beam of the orbital defense weapon and turned into nothingness. As the first shuttle broke through the orbital defense fire network of the Black Star, arrived at the outer orbit of the Black Star and separated the airdrop pod, more and more shuttles arrived here. Countless airdrops rushed toward the surface of the Black Star, spitting out dazzling orange flames from behind, like stars falling into the mortal world. As soon as the airdrop pod left the shuttle, countless black spots rose from the surface of Wuxingxing. They were countless 2 to 3 meter long shuttle-shaped aircraft that gathered together like a roiling black cloud. Sisters, now it's our angels' turn to take action. Cover the landing of the friendly troops and kill them without leaving a single piece of armor behind. As the high-level angel accompanying the team shouted on the public channel, the angels' local communication network was filled with voices of response. The sky has always been the domain of our angels. After shouting these words, the captain of the angel team incited his wings to speed up rapidly, quickly surpassing the rapidly falling airdrop pod and facing the speeding enemy aircraft. The many angel warriors who originally followed the cyber civilization shuttle into the outer orbit of the Black Star unhurriedly, after discovering the threat from below, directly faced it without saying anything. Their mission is to intercept the possible blocking force and cover the smooth landing of the cyber civilization's army. As for why they don't break through the Black Star's defense line alone and reach the surface first to destroy the orbital defense facilities, they are worried that the angel warriors will fall into the enemy's sea of people. In tactics, although the angel warriors are powerful, especially when fighting in the air, they can often defeat 1 against 100, but they cannot withstand the waves of enemies coming at them. You must know that the fertility rate of angels has been declining in recent years. The life of every angel warrior is extremely precious and must not be sacrificed in vain. But at the same time, the moral concepts of angels and the righteous order they followed prevented them from ordering their affiliated civilizations to die meaninglessly, so they carried out joint assault operations. The angels are responsible for containing the enemy's airstrike force, while the cyber civilization arriving on the surface is responsible for building a landing base and constructing the most basic defense facilities. The interceptor fleet rising from the Black Star and the angel warriors swooping down from the sky quickly closed the distance between each other, just like the cavalry legions in the cold weapon era, but the results were very different. As soon as the two crossed each other, the interceptor group suffered heavy losses. Countless interceptor planes had their wings sliced open or cut in half by the angels who passed by. After rushing into the interceptor group, the angel warriors rely on their flexible flight and relatively small bodies to destroy the interceptor group. Their sensitive sensing capabilities and extremely powerful computing power allow these angel warriors to often find the best attack route. At the same time, dodge the incoming particle beam. Most ordinary angel warriors take advantage of the numerical advantage between ourselves and the enemy to block each other's attack paths with surrounding enemies, thereby creating a local situation of up to 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3, which is still within the capabilities of ordinary angel warriors. As for the captains of the angel team, they can often withstand the attacks of these interceptors and dismantle them into a pile of parts. Not to mention the several high-ranking people accompanying them, the high-ranking angels responsible for front-line command in the combat team only need to gently wave the flaming sword in their hands to cut out crescent-shaped flaming sword energy that is several meters long. It can easily harvest the interceptors gathered around it, while still having room to command the combat teams distributed nearby. Teams, please note that I am Angel Helen. Remember that our purpose is to cover friendly forces, not to annihilate them. Therefore, sisters split up these fighter planes to open a passage to the surface for the Cybermen's landing troops. Several high-ranking angels issued similar orders one after another. The angel team that originally cooperated with each other to kill the interceptors immediately changed their tactics and began to divide the interceptors and limit their range of activities. The ordinary computing AI carried on these interceptors cannot recognize the intentions of the angels at all, and can only run the programs that have already been set. While avoiding the attacks of the angels in a rigid manner, they chase the angels with the particle cannons installed on the belly and wings of the aircraft. Soldiers shoot. The cyber civilization airdrop pod that originally fell like a goddess scattering flowers, after discovering that the angels had opened a passage among the enemy's interceptor fleet, immediately modified its landing route and passed through this passage. However, not all airdrops can modify their landing trajectories in time. Some of them were unlucky enough to plunge into a group of interceptors and were smashed into sieves by the dense particle cannon barrage. They contained a small group of heavily armed warriors from the cyber civilization. Reimbursement on the spot. This is the cruelty of war, and death always follows. Under the cover of thousands of angels, the airborne troops of the cyber civilization successfully passed through the defense line of the interceptor group on the surface of the black atmosphere, and plunged into the black-gray atmosphere that enveloped the entire black star. The high-ranking angel in charge of the battlefield command left a part of the angel team to entangle and block the interceptor group, and then led the team to follow the airborne captain of the cyber civilization and rushed into the black-gray atmosphere. As the angel broke into the atmosphere of the black star, the cosmic space that originally had a glimmer of light was instantly engulfed by pitch-black darkness. At the same time, there was also a hint of coldness, because the stellar radiation and physical light energy, which were the angel's greatest energy sources, were extremely sparsely distributed in this darkness. It was not until nearly a minute later that the airdrop pods of the angel warriors and Cybermen passed through this dark atmosphere and truly arrived in the atmosphere of the black star. The howling wind blew the blonde hair of the angels, but could not stop them. Dive at extreme speed. Because the planet's atmosphere is obscured by black unknown dust, the light inside the black star is not bright, but slightly dim, and can only blur the vision. In order to cope with this situation, the angel warriors who were swooping down had to temporarily pick up the special light capture algorithm taught in the Merlot Heavenly Warrior Training Ground to strengthen the capture ability of their eyes, which greatly strengthened the angel warriors' vision.